I want to take a moment to talk about Stoicism, and I actually did a little bit of research because while I knew up here a little bit about Stoicism, I wanted to really explain to our listeners and audience what it is as we keep referring to it. So it is something that originated in Greece and was later developed in Rome, gaining popularity among philosophers, statesmen, and everyday people seeking inner peace and fulfillment. At its core, and please correct me if I'm mistaken, Stoicism offers timeless wisdom for living a life of virtue, tranquility, and self-mastery. So the central aspects of Stoicism revolve around an understanding and accepting that what is within your control is in your control and letting go of what isn't in our control. So really trying to focus on cultivating virtues such as wisdom and courage, and temperament and justice. Anyone who is trying to be more of a Stoic very much tries to align with their highest values, regardless of their external circumstances. Have I summarized that quite, in a way that aligns with some of the philosophies that you're guided by?
Yeah, and you did an excellent job. And I think the Stoicism is something that has a bit of a bad reputation, right? It's like that how we use like, oh, you're a Stoic. That means like you shove your emotions aside and you're just like this this stiff upper lip and upper stiff lip and like a wall. But that's not what it is. And when people ask me like, what is it? I think it's more of like the Western version of Buddhism or Taoism, where you really have
Yes.
this sense of deeper introspection and get to really know who you are. And that's why, again, as we mentioned a little bit, that's why modern day therapies use it as a foundational
Yes.
block to build, because they knew back in the day, the Greeks, they knew what human psychology was about and how the mind kind of worked. Maybe not as deep as we do now, but they did have a very
Mm-hmm.
strong sense of what was going on. And as you said, the goal of Stoicism is pretty much going for this term that they call eudaimonia, which is kind of this joy, contentment, this inner peace and a peaceful mind. And that's really the goal. And you do that
Mm-hmm.
by exploring who you are, like really knowing yourself. I
Mm-hmm.
think that is the key of any foundation. And Stoicism is something that speaks to me, but I'm not here to turn people into Stoics. That is not my goal. It's not
No.
like, yeah, you've got to, this is the way to go. No, you've got to create your own philosophy of life. And I think that is something that people really need to look for. And how you do that is by asking yourself questions, just by really exploring
Mm-hmm.
yourself. And if you have, and Marcus
Mm-hmm.
Aurelius says in one of his quotes, the obstacle becomes the way. And that is the thing, because if you
Yes.
go, you can't ignore the obstacles in your life. And that's,
Mm.
when we look at Stoicism, we can only find true peace if you are able to live through the hardships of your life. Because it is,
Mm-hmm.
if we have to be honest, life is tough, life is difficult. And it's not this easy walk in
Yes.
the park fairy tale journey that we all think of when we are children. But we have this life set out, I grow up, I go to school, I have a great job, I have a career, I have a family, and then suddenly things happen, right? And that's where philosophy of
Yes.
life really grounds you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And where we learn the most about
Mm.
ourselves, about the people around us, the environment, it's in those experiences that we have the opportunity for growth. And it's so important that you've highlighted that, we speak of these philosophies or ideals not to shift anyone's perspective, but to also educate and share each other's stories, because I think that's so important in being able to connect with one another, with our community, and also then help provide a service of value.